So it occurred to me that I can probably put all of this stuff into a single for loop, which would be a nice optimization. Okay, not a single for loop. There is, god damn it, we have a separate function for this, separate script for this now, don't we? Still need to do this stuff first, so that needs its own for loop, but I'm pretty sure that all of this can just be in a single for loop, right? Is that right? As long as we maintain the same order of operations, it will... Nope. No, that's not true, is it? It does have to be in separate for loops, because we've got to scan through the entire list before we move on to the next set. So no, we cannot do that, okay. So there was some testing that I wanted to do. I mean, I always build the store first and everything seems to work fine. But I haven't confirmed that everything still works if you don't build the store. There's definitely going to be some issues with the hunters, but... guess we can do this on Beginner Island. It's possible that if the store doesn't exist, it may cause some issues. We really need sound effects for this stuff, don't we? Would be nice. Could use the same sound effect as planting a tree for now. Okay, we've placed everything except the store. Will they... Oh, they are still felling the trees. That's a good sign. Question is, can they get everything built? I am going to need miracle fur if I don't want to use hunters. I don't see why I wouldn't just use some hunters as well. Okay. don't seem to be having any issues here. So far, I'm gonna go all the way until they get everything built, but so far so good. Yeah, interesting strat. You can, if you want, you could just make like pure worshippers at the beginning and use Miracle Fur to build everything. And then once everything's built, you could switch. What is going on here? My freaking boxes are falling to pieces. No way, this is purple. This is off my PJs. Seems good. Yep, they got everything built, even without the store being placed. That's cool. Very cool. Confirmed. It works. Right. Whoop. Have a look at my notes. Right. Right, so it's just the hunters. What? Yeah, okay. I guess we literally just need to loop through the repairs and add it to this as well, basically. That's pretty much it. So now the hunters will also hunt to provide fur if something requires repairing and there isn't enough fur in the store, or the store hasn't been built yet, or it doesn't even exist. Although this thing, hey Fish, how's it going, man? Works crazy busy still, so gonna look cool. Thanks for the look, appreciate it. Thanks, dude. Yeah, it's going well. I'm creating lots more work for myself to do, but we are rapidly checking things off the list as well. But it's going to be cool because it means that I'm actually formulating a plan. I'm getting a clear sense of direction as to where I'm going with the game and what I need to do to get there. And that's good because it was kind of vague until kind of just clicked today. I have a pretty clear idea of... I mean, I realized, like I say, generally things only make it into the game out of necessity, and we realized why it's necessary to allow the player to return to previous levels, because they can essentially softlock themselves if they skip a certain miracle that they need for the late game or something, and they have no way to get back and get it. And that means that it's essentially the same thing. We need to be able to return to previous levels, and I was also talking about how the good ending would allow you to return to any previous level of your choosing. So once we build that system, we can just repurpose it for the ending as well. It's going to take a bit of work. Well, I mean, really not that much work, because most of the stuff I need is there, right? We generate the levels, and we even save them when we save the game. It's saving. So I've got all of the code for saving the levels after they've been generated. We would just kind of generate them and then save them, I guess. And the save files are going to get a lot bigger, and the save times are going to get longer, because when you save the game, you not only save your current level, but you will be saving every previous level that you've been in too. I'm wondering if maybe there should be like a... No, that doesn't really work, does it? It's gotta be stored in the same save file. So I'm hoping the save times aren't going to get crazy, but it is going to be necessary to do that. Now I'm just realizing that this thing only scans through the build list, so the hunters also need to scan through the repairs list as well. So we're just gonna do that. There's no way around it. We're just gonna do it. True, once those have been defined once, we don't need to do it again. And then this is current repair. So that's it. We total up the amount of fur required to build and repair everything, and then we scan through the repairs list and the build list. Well, if I don't put the fucking... If I don't do the check on there, build equals no one, then it doesn't actually matter, I don't think, really, for the hunters. But if we wanted... Yeah, I don't think it actually matters, but if we want it to be consistent with how we do it for the carpenters, they should prioritize repairs over building. But it's no different in the case of the hunters, because they're not actually building or repairing anything. They are just providing the fur needed to do that. So it is technically completely unnecessary to do this, but I think I'm going to do it anyway for some reason. Also, it's unnecessary to check build equals no one when doing this because it's the first thing on the list, so build would have just been reset to no one anyway, so it definitely equals no one when we do this. I suppose you could call this an optimization. The fuck happened? If build equals no one. You could call this an optimization because we don't, if we found something on this first scan, we don't need to bother doing the second scan. Look at this beautiful cascade of, look, it's like perfectly aligned all the way down. All these brackets. Okay, okay. So that's that done. Let me check my little to-do list. We've suddenly gone from like these massive changes that take multiple days even sometimes to like, let me just do this thing that takes 2 minutes. Does kind of swing like between those two polar extremes. Now that we've taken care of all that stuff, it's like we're into kind of just like little design tweaks here and there, little balance changes, a little bit of polish here and there maybe. But soon we'll be swinging back the other way. If I've got to make it so that you can return to previous levels, that'll be a pretty massive undertaking. Confirmed that is possible. The hunters can supply fur to tents even if the store doesn't exist. The carpenters can build everything if the store doesn't exist. No problems with any of that stuff. I suppose the only thing I'm sure it'd be fine, but what happens if like we just try and build a creche or something? It's probably fine. I would imagine so. And I was thinking during the earlier playthrough we had some wolves that spawned rather close to a shrine. And I was thinking maybe we want to kind of increase the distance there. Spawn system, spawn constructs, wolf dens have to be, really? Shrine expand. Well, okay, so only 60. Really, they only have to be 60 cells away from shrines, expansion stones, and portal stones. That is quite close, isn't it? I don't know, is it exciting that they can be kind of close sometimes? Or, I mean, you know, I didn't have any problems getting through that level. It kind of made it interesting. Yeah, well, I don't think we actually need to change that for now. It's something we can think about as we do more playtesting. So, is there anything on the known bugs list still that needs dealing with? Not really. Just a bunch of stuff on tentative now that we're... Well... it's like, do I... See, I just want to go ahead and do this thing so that you can return to previous levels. Because it's like necessary for the functioning of the core game. Right? It's very hard for me to justify in my own mind drawing more sprites, although they would be cool, when I need to... so much more that I need to... I mean... all of the content that's in there right now is pretty much playable. There's like 3 levels worth of content or something, other than the creatures not being there. The levels don't have unique creatures yet. We're just reusing the same creatures. But yeah, you can't... well, it's not true. You can softlock yourself because you can... whilst there isn't content for all the levels yet, you can just keep going through all the levels. I don't know. What I'm saying is, I think I want to do this. So I just need to think about how we're going to do this. Like, all of the... the grids and the tile maps need to be stored for all the previous levels. So there'll be the grid still. The grid is the grid of the current level that you're in, but when we generate a map, essentially, like depending on what level we're in, we want to save like the temperate forest tile map and the temperate forest grid permanently. So that's just a case of like, what is that a case of doing? When we start a new game, we're gonna need So not only are we going to have the grid, is this where I want to do this? I think so. And I think I want to, do I want to create the grids at this stage? Yes. Thinking like, do we want a bunch of grids to exist? Do you need to clean up grids? Probably. Is there like an MP grid destroy? Yeah. Do we ever destroy the grid? I would imagine so. Like on endgame or something. I don't think we ever destroy the grid. Maybe there is a small memory leak where the memory doesn't reset completely back to what it was when you quit the game, back to the main menu. Probably the grid is never being destroyed, I guess. We don't destroy the grid when you load a game, right? Is that true? I think we just clear it and then load everything back into it. It's the same grid. Load grid. That would be the one. Right, delete. MP grid, add cell grid. Yeah, we just kind of work with the existing grid. But I think if you quit back to the main menu, if you end the game, hence this function here, we probably want to DS, what is it? MP grid, sorry. MP grid destroy global dot grid. Now when we offload the grid from the global variable into everything else, is that just like a reference that points back? Or do they all have the, it can't be, it can't be that they all contain a grid. It probably just points back to the original grid, right? There's only one grid that exists because I'm not doing multiple MP grid creates. So the original grid is stored in here, and then it probably has like a reference, right? And then, so I could probably use any because they all contain the same reference, and it would destroy the singular grid. So I'm sure it's going to be fine. I just obviously want to test it. Start a new game, which will create a grid and flag the various cells as forbidden based on the tile map and the instances. And then when I quit back to the main menu, now that grid will be destroyed. And then when I start a new game, that a new grid will be created, whereas previously the grids would have never been cleaned up anywhere. I don't think I was doing it. So yeah, I don't think there's going to be any more playtesting this evening. Actually, I still have that save though. We can resume at some point. But we kind of figured out, I kind of like figured out what I want to be doing. So I'm going to do it, I guess. And there is indeed a grid there. So we're now cleaning up the old grid, which is important, or the grid, really. Okay, and so we're gonna need a grid for each level, I guess. Easy place to get this from will be the menu, create, boom, levels right there. That's my level list. And it's just going to be an empty grid to begin with, right? But ooh, yeah, there is, what just happened? Oh, I pasted it on the end of this line. So the thing I'm cautious about is like, when do these grids get cleaned up? We need to clean them all up at the same time as we clean up the other grid. Okay, as long as we do that, we're fine. This is really cool. I don't know why I like this idea so much. I just think it's really cool that kind of the levels like exist as a real place that you can return to. There's something cool about that, over them being this kind of temporal thing. It's very ethereal. It's like, oh, they were just generated and they only exist for the time that you're in them. They feel less real when you can't return to them. That's interesting. Desert Island. Don't mind if I do. Oakley dokley then. Okay, so we also clean those up. It's good that I finally got around to cleaning up my grids. And we also need... How the fuck do tile maps even work? Good question. I mean, I know I can store them in an array. We do that at some points, but like... I bet we don't even need both of these, so I don't know what the hell this is. Oh, okay. Do we need to store them in an array? Also, I'm not quite sure how this is going to work. Because everything's based on global grid. Do we just like point that to the grid of the current level or something? Instead of it containing its own grid, we point it to the one for the level that we're in. Probably something like that. I just got to figure out how tile maps work. How do tile maps work? It's been a while. The proc gen, set tile map. Map ID. Okay, map ID is the tile map then. Gotcha. Map ID. Layer get ID tiles 1. Layer tile map get ID. Lay ID. I don't even know what question to ask, really. I'm wondering, basically, can a tile map exist, like, independent of the room? Or is it like an extension of the room? Because we're gonna need to store it in an array and, like, reload it in if it can't exist independently of the room. I don't know. I don't know what to do other than try it, or maybe read about layer tile map get ID or something. This function can be used to retrieve the unique handle of the tile map element on a layer. Right. So the layer will exist only within a room. But that's fine, because we'll be going back to that room. Note that this function is specifically designed for use with tile maps that have been added in the IDE. Every tile layer in the room editor becomes a layer at runtime with a single tile map element on it, holding all the tiles you added to it. This tile map element will be the only element on that layer, and this function returns its handle. You can also add a tile map element to a layer through code using layer tile map create, which we did, and this function will then return the unique handle for the tile map element added. If the given tile map ID is incorrect or no tile, you get -1. Okay. My rooms are not persistent though. So every time we like load into a room, we are going to want to create the what are we creating again? Tile map. Yes. We create the tile map on the layer, and then layer tile map get okay, ID. That's how we're getting the ID. Once we've got the ID, we can just like store it. So we could we not just do like, that's my Discord. I don't know what's going on. Once can't we just like get the ID for each room then and like store it? Hey Gurafox, how's it going? The tile map stores everything in it, stores all the tiles. Oh good, glad to hear it. But does it persist between rooms? That's a good question. Is there a way to make a tile layer persistent? Tile maps are designed so tile attributes are saved and will be displayed unless you change them. Tile maps are tied to the specific room they're placed in. When a room is active, the tile maps within it are also active and will persist, showing the current state of the tiles. What does that sound? So I don't know what that means. Does that mean it will persist through other rooms as well, or will only persist when the room is active? It sounds like when the room is active. So the tile map doesn't persist, so we might have to store the tile map in an array and actually reload it in. Bit of a pain in the butt, but okay. Oh, and this is going to change the whole loading system as well, because when you're traveling to a level that already exists, we don't want to procedurally generate a new one. We want to load. That's not too difficult to do. So I still don't understand enough. Functions like tilemap, get tilesat, tilemap width, height, tilemap get are available to retrieve information about time, enabling you to dynamically interact with them. How are tiles stored in room.yy files? Man. I just don't know about tile maps. All we can do is try, I suppose. I have a feeling it probably doesn't work. I don't know, I'm going to ask a stupid question and just say like, How do you save a tile map? We're already saving a tile map for in the save load system. I'm just wondering if yeah. The only suggestions I'm getting is DS grid, JSON, buffer, blah blah blah. So yeah, I think we do have to do that. Which makes it easier to save them, because they're already in an array. And we just save the array the same way that we do now. But it's like, I'm not really talking about saving, because, yeah, we're going to save them, but I'm not talking about saving right now. I'm talking about, just changing rooms within a single play session or something. I'm guessing if the room is not persistent, though, that means the room is essentially recreated from scratch every time. So the tile map ID will not be the same, because it will not be the same tile map, and that tile map will no longer exist. So no, we can't. Okay, that's why it makes sense that we have to store it somehow. So we have tile 0, which is used when generating. So we do how do we do it? Read map 0, and then we go through and we do all this bullshit, and we set it, and then we delete. But this is this, how does this work again? Oh, this is that fucking bullshit that goes through and places all the corner pieces and everything. I remember writing this. It's a goddamn nightmare. Let's just look at it. Jesus Christ. So it's what? It's all based on. So first we do the basics based on the height map. Oh my god. So what I actually need to be looking at is the save load system, because that's where we save the tile maps. I need to be looking at the save load system. Okay. Write tile data to array. We also write the grid to an array. However, I don't think we need to do that when changing levels. We can just have multiple grids that exist throughout a whole play session. We do still need to save them when you save. We need to save all the grids and all the tile map arrays. Fortunately, I guess I can just use the same. Oh no, don't even need to do that. Right. So I'm guessing I have a function for loading tile map, exactly this one, that I can just repurpose. I can literally just use this function just like when we load a tile map from a save file. When we switch levels, we'll load the tile map Only I probably want a different function because we're going to be loading it from a different array than tile 0. Right. So, but I can repurpose this. So we're going to need arrays. At least we figured that out. That's not what I want. So, the joy of arrays. Here we go. All right. What am I even looking at? Oh, there we go. Open plains, savanna. Boreal forest. Swamp. Desert island. The display names for the rooms may change. The names in code will never change at this point, I don't think. Why did I delete tile 0? We need that. Okay, tile 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Good. Alright, so when we first generate a level, and we create the tile map, we also want to add it to the level specific. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Scripts, procgen, set tile map. Read map 0 and it sets tiles. What is it set to? Map ID. Yeah, it's setting it directly to that. Yeah. But we can't just do that because there's all this stuff that goes on afterwards too. Well, that's just random detail tiles. And then there's like all the transition tiles and all that shit. And then we delete clear the array. That's fine. But we also want to we're gonna have to basically do what we do when we save the game in here where we write tile data to level specific array. Map width. We do not have a map width in here. I think I'll make a separate function for this. Would it still be classed as procgen? I think so. Set tile map and then like set tile map. It's kind of like read tile map or store tile map, or I mean, set. What's the opposite of set? Get tile map. Okay. Get tile map. And it needs map width, map height, map ID. And we can even pass in the array we want to store it to, I guess. So that makes it easier. Do we want to use a controller object? I don't know. But then it's like, where the hell do we do this? I guess we just add it into the load system. Pretty much. Right after set tile map. SC get tile map. And then we would do what did it want next? Map ID, which is just map ID. And then the array specifically. Now that, okay, that is the thing, because that's level specific. So we actually need like Fuck. Nope, not beginner island grid. Why isn't it auto suggesting the other one? Because it's not global. Why the frick is it not global, son? Isn't there a way to like... Oh, that's beautiful. I've always wondered since I saw this guy doing it. You hit control and left and it takes you to the front of the thing that you currently have your thing on. What is that called? We better not technically be in... Oh, that's gonna fuck us up, isn't it? I actually need to check. I'm gonna disable this temporarily. And just check what room we're in. Because if we're technically still in the menu, this isn't gonna work. But it's okay because we know what level we're loading into because we selected that earlier, right? So... Hey, we're in the correct room. It doesn't explain why nothing worked the other day when we did room-based stuff. Well, I forget what we were even doing, but it didn't work, did it? So we can actually use this method here. If it thinks we're in beginner island at this stage, then we're good. Guess we would have to be because we're spawning everything in. Okay, that's it. We got it. We got it. Alright, so, and then get tile map. We'll just write the tile map to the specific array that we pass in there. Perfect. That's awesome. Okay, so, and we've got to clear up those arrays when we end the game, otherwise we have like a memory leak effectively. So game, end game, array destroy. You can't destroy arrays, they're automatically destroyed if you delete everything within them, I think. Array delete. I just need all those arrays. Not sure if tiles 0 ever actually gets cleaned up, to be honest with you. Could be another sort of memory leak there. Wait, no, those are the ones for use in save loading. I think they actually get destroyed after we load. No? No, that's not. No, they get, sorry, they're used during procgen and they get destroyed after they've been used, I believe. Let me just check. Procgen, set tile map. Well, map 0 gets destroyed. No, it's definitely, what the hell, what even, I don't know, don't worry about it right now. Okay. Yes, end game. There we go. Okay, so we're cleaning those up when we quit the game as well. It's possible those just get cleaned up in the controllers cleanup event, which we added recently anyway. Nope, they don't. They do not. I'll be damned. Not even really sure what they are right now. They're definitely used in save loading, right? We use tile 0 and grid 0 in save loading. Makes you wonder why the hell we're creating them here instead of just making like temporary arrays when loading or saving or whatever the hell we're using them for. I don't know, man. I don't know. Okay. Okay. So we have our tiles stored in arrays now, one for each level. So as you progress through the levels and each level gets procedurally generated, both the tile... Well, the tiles will be saved. What about the grid? Pathing? Is it going to be in pathing? I would have thought it would... It is in pathing. Forbid cells. So this is the thing... When does the controller get created again? Because I have a feeling the controller gets created outside of the room, but we might be able to use room start or loader. No, wait, no, what? Available cell 0. The hell is that? Well, there's one of them. I don't see any reference to available cells 1 anywhere. I think the controller exists prior to this. I think the controller gets created like when you hit enter to start a new game, pretty much. Yep, it's like the first thing we do. Okay, so well, we could do it based on the level, but then again, that's a temporary variable stored inside the menu. That's we can still reference it. It's not a big deal that it's sorry, not a temporary variable, a local variable. Not a big deal though. Right, why am I doing all this? That is extra confusing as well. I have a variable called level and a variable called levels. Levels is the list. The fuck even is this? ID position. Yeah. What? It's just on the... If we would do this same thing and look at the list based on object menu dot levels, object menu dot level. That's how we would have to find it. Why are we doing this again? Something to do with the grids. Grids. Okay, because when we actually... So we're creating a bunch of empty grids. But when we actually, like, update those grids, we do forbid cells and We're just working on grids. Thankfully, we are already passing it in, so I can pass in, just in the same way we did with the arrays, I can pass in the level-specific grid, and then we can set, like, you know, although it is problematic that is problematic, actually, because it needs to be set before everything else inherits it. Or we can just make everything work off the global grid, which might be smart, actually. The reason I'm doing it is because, you know, oh boy, it's a risky global find and replace, though, because it probably says grid elsewhere. Is there something like case sensitive, whole word only, ignore comments, maybe whole word only, and ignore comments, and say grid find all. Oh, jeez. We can probably get away with, like, because like I said, we do know what level we're entering. Ah, no, only if we're starting a new game, though. Otherwise, then I don't think we do. Well, no, I don't think it's stored anywhere. Oh wait, it's stored on global next level. New game equals true. So we could possibly do it based on whether new game is true or false. And then we know whether we're looking at this or whether we're looking at global next level. No, wait a minute. Well, yeah, for this, we can tackle the previous level thing later. I guess that's a way of doing it. So this would just be an empty variable initially. And then I would have to do, like, Don't I basically have one of these that I just made? Pretty much, this thing. I think the controller persists through level transitions. I mean, it's not being destroyed anywhere, so... And it's a persistent object. So, yeah, I guess the controller persists through level transitions, so... but it's like... When the... well, so yeah, we can't do this in the create event here, can we? Interesting. So... There it is. Okay, so... Creating the loader. Cool. Otherwise, wait a minute. Well, I do still need to set that there. Let's see. Just the order of operations in the menu. The control is created first, the load is created last, and that should be consistent across the board. Okay, and let me look at the loader. Create grid equals global grid. Yeah. So if we're entering a new level, new game is false, and then we set the grid to the level specific grid for whichever level we're in before forbidding the tiles. I think we'll just check that this works real quick, and then we'll update the save load system to save and load all of the levels as well. Assuming they're not empty. I don't know if we even need to bother. Okay. Okay. So right now, I guess we're on beginner island grid, as opposed to just global grid. Right, I need to look at the code. Controller. Well, we set global grid to B, and then grid is inherited from global grid. Oh, I guess it's the same grid. It's just getting passed down the chain, right? Where is the portal actually? There it is. Let's go. Don't know what happens if I load into the next level at 8 times speed, by the way. I don't think I've ever tried that. Maybe I'm still in 8 times speed, or maybe my speed gets reset. If it doesn't get reset, I'll make it reset. Oh no. Oh no. It got stuck loading the next level. Shit. Do I also need to switch what global grid is set to? Or... And how are we going to update everybody else's grid? Especially when we have some persistent... this is the thing, isn't it? Okay, I think what we actually want to do is store the grids in an array just like we do with the tile maps. And then we always have the same singular grid that we load everything onto out of an array. Okay, what does that mean for us? We have to roll back quite a bit of this shit. Okay. These are not going to be grids at all. They're going to be arrays. Where the fuck are the arrays? Here we go. This, I kind of like this. I mean, it's, yeah, I like it. There is only ever one grid, which the characters will navigate on, and we just update that grid based on what level we're in. And we save the, it's perfect. It's perfect. Right, and is there anything else? We're gonna basically do. What are we gonna do? Nope, nothing like that. So this is going to be some unique behavior to, like, when we're revisiting a previous level, specifically. So, well, first we got to save the grids. So let's do that. Basically in exactly the same way. So we did a forbid cells. We need a get cells basically, and then after we do forbid cells, we do actually want to do a room specific get cells. So yeah, it will be like, whoa. It will be like forbid cells and then grid array equals so it's such a nice way of doing it. It was going off the rails the other way. Grid cool, and then I need to make some sort of a new function, which is basically a repurposing of the code in the save system. I might as well actually just duplicate the get tilemap function. Data equals data. What? Sorry, how does the other one work? It's just how data is just a I see. Grid. Am I passing in map ID. So in this one, map ID, sorry, it becomes grid. And then we call it like level grid or something. It's the grid we're reading from and the level grid that we're assigning the data to. Okay, and then we do in the loader, sc get, oh, where is it? I didn't rename it. Get grid, and it's basically all the fuck is wrong with that? Oh, did I change the wrong one or something? Get tile map. No, get tile map is get tile map. Get grid is get grid. MP grid is expected? Get tile, are you sure about that? I don't think that's right. Anyway, we want the same. Grid array and grid. Okay, so once we procedurally generate a level, then we will write the grid data to the level specific grid array. Okay, so if we ever revisit that level, we now have the tile map array and the grid array for that specific level, which is all we need to load the map back in, basically. We need to write all of this stuff to your save files. I can't currently, because we can't revisit previous levels, I don't know how to test this, actually. It's almost like we need to make the portals that will allow you to travel back to previous levels now, maybe. And then the loader would be like, this is the stuff that you would do if new game equals true, right? And then if new game equals false, wait, no, is that right? No. But there is another flag called like level transition or something, I think. Level transition equals true when we're entering a new level. Don't know when that gets reset. But if level transition is false, we know that we're starting a new game. Wait a minute. Sorry, if level transition is... No, this is getting crazy, because it will still be a level transition if you're going to the previous level. Okay, I'm not quite sure how are we going to figure this out. Because level transition will still be true. We could just have another flag. We could have another flag called like previous level previous equals true. And then if level previous is true, we load the previous level. If level previous is false, we procedurally generate a new level. Basically, is what I'm thinking. Right. I think it could be time to create the new portals. I think every reference to object portal is going to have to be replaced with object portal exit, and then we'll have object portal entrance. Pretty much. We'll see, you know, all the polishing will come at the end. We'll want them to look like they're walking out of the portal into the new level. But that's, yeah, the polish that will be at the end. So yeah, object portal is now, whoa, object portal exit. And I don't know if that automatically updates everything in code everywhere. I think so. I've got to be careful because we've got object portal stone, but it looks like every reference to object portal has now probably been updated with object portal exit by doing that. Well, I hope so. Let's just take a look at like the spawn system when we create the portal. That one changed. Hopefully we're good. And then we need to create a new type of portal. An entrance portal. Do we say exit portal, enter portal? Entrance was my first thought, so. Okay, so we now have an entrance portal, which will just be open by default. Oh my god. Oh boy, okay, so we won't need a bunch of stuff related to this, probably. It's going to need... Will it need its own particle system or not? It is going to need its own particles. I think we just disable them for now because we need to work on functionality, not aesthetics. Why do these alarms all equal 5? I don't know. I think they should equal... Nothing. Nothing. They shouldn't equal anything until later. When we enable the emitters is when we would do that, right? Oh no. I mean, that's the weird thing, is like we're constantly running those even though the lighting isn't enabled. That is weird. That is weird. Okay. Stage. What? I'm not going to delete it just in case, but it doesn't need that. So open. It's backwards. Open means active and active means open from what I remember. Nearby humans. For transparency? I guess. Nearest human. Why do we care about that? Oh, there is a stage. I see. Stage is like 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. In our case, that's not a thing. They can all just be enabled by default, ultimately. We don't even need this. Okay. And now we've got global active portal. Right, so global. But previously there could only be one. We could like, we could set global active portal to the portal. As long as we prevent you from activating multiple portals simultaneously. That would be really weird. And then we could, rather than checking if active portal is true, we could check if active portal does not equal no one or something like that. But that would require updating quite a bit of stuff. But I mean, this is bound to happen, right? Making a pretty big change here. Global.sphere range equals 30. Makes sense. This is when we like hit the next level. So does the sphere size actually get reset? I believe so. Well, I think the instance is just created and destroyed again, so it goes back to the default size. Open true. It's just open. It's just open by default. We don't need an open variable because it's never closed. And yes, open actually means active. I somehow named them backwards when I was doing it. And we don't need stage either. Check there's no reference to stage left anywhere. Seems good. Okay. Well, for testing purposes, yeah, for testing purposes, actually, it would be really nice to store the active portal in this variable. And because I think, because previously there was only ever one portal, so everything directly references object portal. Now there can be two of them, or there will be two of them, so we'll be referencing active portal, which will store whichever one is active, and we'll just make sure that you can only activate one portal at once. And then for this one, the entrance portal, which will be used to travel back to the previous level, most stuff remains the same, right? But we need some sort of a flag, like, so we've got a level transition flag. I forget what that even does, but we have one. But that you could be going forwards or backwards. It's almost as if. Let me just do a global search on that. Actually, maybe remind myself what this is even for. What is this for? If we start a new game, then we know we're not transitioning levels. Object controller room start seems to be the only place where it's kind of referenced. What does it do? It creates a new camera. Okay, so the camera obviously doesn't persist between levels. So we would still need to create a new camera if we're going back to the previous level. So we would still want level transition to be true, but we need some additional flag to let us know that we're not progressing to the next level, we're actually returning to the previous level. So I think we want like a level previous flag, right? And I suppose the easiest way to do it is just have a previous level, global previous level versus global next level, and then just every level, like in the room definitions for each level will have a previous level, just in the same way that it has a next level. Except for levels that can't have a previous level. Okay. In which case, we just won't spawn a portal in those levels at all. Right. Maybe I should still make sure that it's set to nothing. I don't know, just to be safe. So the previous level for the temperate forest is beginner island. Previous level for the open plains is the temperate forest. Previous level for the savanna is the open plains. Previous level for the boreal forest is the savanna. Previous level for the swamp is the boreal forest. Previous level for the desert island is the swamp. Previous level for the tropical rainforest is the desert island. Previous level for the marshland is the tropical rainforest. Previous level for the Arctic tundra is the marshland. Oh. And these ones will be special cases where we actually probably will have a different type of portal, not an entrance or an exit portal, but some sort of a level specific portal. And there will be one in hell, maybe not. Wait, this one, why is hell first? That seems wrong in my mind. Can I just swap those around? It should be heaven and then hell. Oh, good lord. Alright. Oh, sweet Jesus, what have I done? Pretty sure they're exactly the same, so well, no, not really. Oh, okay, how do I... Oh, right. Keep that bracket there, and then paste this one here. But remove this bracket. Why am I missing a bracket here now? Oh. Okay, that's good. I think that's good, right? Okay. So all the levels that need a previous level now have a previous level assigned, and the entrance portal will take you to the previous level. And it sets level previous to true, as well as level transition to true. And so we need to update the loader so that it knows what to do. So, if global level previous equals false, then we do all of the regular stuff to procedurally generate a new level. Else we're going to load back into a previous level, hopefully. How do we do that? We also, I didn't even think about it yet. we need to store all of the objects from that level and their locations, which would be just the same as loading a save file, essentially. You know, I almost thought about, like, what if we just made save files for each level or something and loaded them? Is that actually the best way to do it? Maybe. I mean, that's pretty much what we're doing at the end of the day. The only problem is, I mean, you could do that. You could just read those save files and save those save files into your save file. The thing is, like, when you actually save and load the game, when you save, it would need to save all of these other save files as well and, like, combine them into your save file. That's probably the reason I don't want to do it. Don't want to do it that way. Okay, but at least if we could get to the point where we can load back into the previous level and have the tile map and the grid load in, that would be a good start, right? We might as well copy everything and start chopping out the bits that we don't need, and go from there. Where the I'm gonna put a comment. We don't want to generate a fall off map. We don't want to generate a noise map. Update the tile map. What? We definitely want to update the tile map. How does that work? Oh, wait a minute. There's still like, well, we're gonna have to rewrite all of that stuff as well, but let's get the basics down first. Did I delete anything important? I don't really. It's a long time since I wrote this loader. How does it even work? No, it looks good. It looks good. We want to update the tile map, but in a different way from how we did it previously. So set tile map. What does this 0, 0 mean? I have no idea. Just an XY coordinate? Okay, just the position. We just start in the top left corner. Ah, no, wait. Set tile map. No. We don't want to. No, we don't. We don't even do this. Or do we? Well, we kind of do. But we don't. It's not set tile map. We basically need to write a new function, or can we actually... Oh, remember before how I was saying we can reuse the one used in the load system? I think we can actually just use our load tile map thing, as long as we... As long as we kind of like... I don't think we can reuse this function exactly. Or can we? No. No, we cannot. But we can duplicate it and make like a previous tile map function or something like that. We know what room we're in. Room tile map? We call it room tile map? Where would this even belong exactly? Perhaps just in game. Room tile map? Don't know what else to call it. Room? That doesn't make sense. And really, it doesn't make sense considering how things actually work. What was I going to call it? It's not. We're not loading the tile map because that would imply we're loading a save file, loading a tile map from a save file. Set tile map is the thing where we like set the tile map based off of the like height map. Set tile map is where we set the tile map based off the height map. This one is like, oh, I think I was going to call it a previous tile map, or I'm going to call it room tile map. I don't give a shit. All right. And I think it probably just belongs in game. It's just kind of like a function of the game now, is that you can return to previous levels. And I guess I don't know if we even need to pass anything into it, really. We can just run it and do everything inside of here. Let me get the thing instead of rewriting this all out again. And I guess I basically just delete these ones. I guess I did need that tile array variable. And data now comes from tile array, tile map set, map ID. Maybe I should pass in map ID. Array delete. Don't think we want to delete anything actually, because it's like permanently stored there now. In case you ever return to that level, we only really delete it when you sort of quit the game. Yeah. Okay. We're not saving and loading them yet, of course, but... Okay. So, back to the loader. Loader room tile map. Map ID. Okay. We load in the room specific tile map based on whatever room we're in, and then flag. No, we don't want to flag any cells. Hold on. It's like load. I don't know how to call it load. I'm just gonna say tile map. Just gonna call it grid. We're not actually like figuring out. All we're doing is getting the grid back. That's set grid, right? Get grid. Did I like make a get grid function already or something? I think I did. What the hell does it do? I think it does what we need it to. Pathing get grid. Map width, map height, grid, level grid. Nope. No, I'm talking about set grid. We're setting the grid at this point, sorry. Set grid. Do we have a set grid thing? Probably not. Because I need to make that. I don't think I've made that yet. Set grid? So what do we do when we actually generate a level? When we're actually generating a level from scratch, we just do forbid cells and then get grid. We need a set grid now. Okay. And what's set grid gonna do? Good question. Set grid is gonna do the same thing that load grid does, pretty much, but slightly different. And we haven't looked at that yet. Load grid is here. So I can basically take load grid and duplicate it to make set grid. Set grid can live with all the other pathing stuff just to be confusing. And then set grid, what the hell is set grid gonna do? Get rid of that. Kind of the same as the other one. Wasn't it called set tiles or something? Room tiles. Jesus Christ. Set tiles is the other thing, isn't it? Room tiles. Set grid. Grid array. When I get grid though, get grid. Jesus Christ, I'm passing it in instead of, it's kind of messy. Wouldn't you rather just do that inside of get grid? We're not going to pass that in anymore. We're going to do it inside of the script. And you can't stop me. Get grid. That's it. Right? That's it. Did I remove the thing though? Level grid. Remove that. Okay, that's cleaner. Set grid. Set grid. Like Hagrid, but set grid. Guess I'll pass in the grid. And this is called get grid, not load grid. Get grid. Get grid grid. And then depending on what room we're in is the grid array that we select, and then we scan through that grid array and we set the grid. What is wrong with this now? One, two, three. 1, 2, 3. I think it's just freaking out. It just hasn't like updated, but it'll be fine. Go back to the other one. Get grid. Grid. There we go. Spawn the fishing spots. We just want to save and load everything in the level. We don't want to. That'll be slow as fuck versus just saving and loading them, I think. And we don't want to spawn anything. Do we need to run the room definitions? Yes, we do still need to run the room definitions. Why does it say spawn constructs here? I don't know. Literally, just, this is where we load everything. Here. Lighting object. Yep, presumably we need to create the lighting object. I guess it is not persistent. The weather object. This is where we actually spawn constructs, which we don't want to do. Okay, there's something going on here though. Or we could just save and load these objects, kind of like we ordinarily would when saving and loading. We could save lighting and weather too. In fact, that's exactly what we should do, because we need to also load back the previous conditions exactly as they were. No, that's not true. We're not loading a save. We're returning, okay. Guess we are going to create these two objects, but we don't want to run spawn constructs. Creating the creatures. Spawn plants. Spawn the animals. And then so we spawn the humans and we relocate them. What do we want to do in our case? Yes, we do actually want to do that. The humans are the only thing that persists between levels, essentially, because it's the same tribe traveling to a new land. And we're just going to need to update the relocate script to do like what we want it to. If you wanted to get really fancy, you would like somehow record the order and like the timings of when they each entered the portal and then like reverse it so that they all exit the other portal in the same way that they entered the first one. That would be pretty crazy. That's extreme levels of polish. We're not anywhere close to worrying about that. Spawn objects. What? Loaded. We have to create the GUI object, set the camera view position, which will actually be centered up on the portal or like the humans or something. So that will be adjusted. Array delete. I don't even know what the hell this is. Okay, so I'm pretty sure we've basically stripped out everything we don't need. And we don't really need as many like separate things for this. I'm going to condense it down a little bit. New game is true, spawn humans. This we can guarantee that this is never a new game. This is never a new game when we're doing this. We always just relocate the existing humans. And there's basically just going to be one big block where we spawn everything. I'll just combine. I think I'll combine. Or should we keep these separate? Oh, I'll keep them separate for now. And then this can just be the thing where we load everything and then. The fuck is this? I guess we don't do that anymore. I don't know. Is the particles object persistent now or something? Is that is persistent, okay. It's news to me. Particles object persists between levels. I can just strip that out. Okay. Well, somehow, like, I didn't even think about the fact that we need to, like, put all of the objects, all of the instances that were in that level back in exactly the same places where they were. So we actually need to, like, save that information when you leave the level, because everything needs to be, like, exactly as you left it. Which is why... Or does it? No, because like time can still pass. That's the crazy thing about it. Like the calendar is still progressing. So you could return to the previous level in a different season or something. Oh my god, that makes it really complicated. In a way, if there were some changes, like i.e. if we did just spawn new creatures and stuff into that level, you could arguably say, well, you know, some time has passed and it's just different now. The weird part would be if you exited the level and then immediately went back and there was like a bunch more wolves or like things had changed quite drastically. That would be weird. You were just there and now everything's different. Obviously the stuff that never moves, like the trees and things, and your camp needs to be exactly as you left it. I think I'll make a cup of tea. Alright, it's been decided. I'll be right back. Okay, my head is spinning with ideas right now. I'm projecting too far ahead. I'm thinking about how we save and load this stuff. I was thinking about whether it could be done with persistent rooms. I mean, it's probably a bad idea for performance reasons, but we have to do this anyway so that you can save and load this stuff. So we might as well just do it this way. Yeah, I don't think you can use persistent rooms if you want to be able to save and load and have it still work. So I'm basically up to the point where, so I was thinking about it, right? First thing, we just need to, thanks, Nocturne. Oh, God. The ceiling is a bit low here to stretch. Firstly, we just need to be able to save and load. It's not save and load. We need all of the instances to be there in exactly the same state that they were in when you left the level. And then if we wanted to spice it up, we could add something that tracks the amount of time that you've been away and then implement certain changes. Naturally, we probably could get away with some basic stuff like the campfire is always extinguished when you return. The meat in the store has always decayed. But we could do some things like grow the animal populations a bit, or if you've been away for a long time, stuff like that. And then, yeah, but we just need to get the basics working first. And this is essentially just more arrays. It's just like the save load system. We create a bunch of structs, one for every instance, and we store them all in an array. And then when we load back into that level, we go through that array and recreate all of the instances using the structs. It's just the save load system all over again. And then when we save the game, that's where my mind started going. I think we should probably get the basics working first, or I really do want to answer that question though. It's just another array that we write to the JSON file. We stringify or whatever and write to the JSON file, and that's exactly how the save load system works now. It's an array of structs that get stringified and written to a JSON file, and all we would be doing would be writing more arrays of structs to that JSON file. And then when we load them, rather than creating the instances like we do for all of the stuff in the level that you've loaded back into, we just load them. We just load them back into an array just to have them there for use when you actually transition back into one of these levels. And that's the time at which everything gets created. All of the instances get recreated based on the structs, just like loading into a level, loading a save file. Okay, so that's the plan. How the hell do I do that? Okay, so well, I definitely know that I'm going to need an array for each level. So we have, like, you know, boreal forest tiles, boreal forest grid. Now we're going to have like boreal forest instances, the thing that stores all the instances. And yes, we do need to clean up these arrays. I don't understand arrays, I'll be honest with you. They still confuse the hell out of me. I'm not scared of them anymore, like I used to be. Maybe I shouldn't say that so loud, they might hear that, they might come after me. But I'm still confused as hell, and like, this whole thing, like, you can't destroy arrays, but if you, like, delete everything in them, then that's the same as destroying them, or they get unallocated from memory or something. I'm just like, what? What does that even mean? It's like, I don't know what that means, because I could, if I delete everything in an array, surely I can then add something back into it. So was it destroyed? I don't get it. I don't get arrays, especially multi-dimensional arrays. Those are unintuitive as hell. They don't work how I think they work. And I know that, but it's not intuitive. Alright, and then clean up. That's not even where we do it, is it? Where do we do that again? Oh, end game. It's just like these all over again, but the instance ones. Okay. Alright, yeah. Just resist the urge to slam your head into the desk. And keep going. We have the arrays now. And then in the same way that we populate an array when we save the game, we need to do that. But when you leave a level, and the array that we choose to populate is, and this one's in a temporary array, which might also be smart. What does it do? But this one stringifies the temporary array. No, we might as well write directly to the array that we want. But it is literally all of this, right? Yeah, I mean, maybe, possibly. Some things are removed because the controller object is persistent. We know the camera is not. I don't think the tracker object is persistent, so I have to like figure out which ones are persistent and which ones are not persistent, and only save the not persistent stuff. Right. What is this? I feel like now is a good time to finally strip out the commented code from here. Ah, okay, I was getting confused as to how it works. I see. There's one of those for every single one. I was like, is there just one of those at the end? How does that work? No. Okay, why is there no, like, thingy there? Semicolon. Whew, okay. Okay. Alright. We probably want a function for this. That'd be smart, wouldn't it? And it goes in game, I guess, and it will be like... Well, we called the other one room tile map. Is this room instances? Get instances? This might be get instances. The naming is all over the place, dude. Get instances? Sure. A nice simple one. Better than room instances. Good lord, okay. We can repurpose some of the load code. We're gonna, well, we have to do like a lot of exactly the same stuff, so. Why is there just an object called empty which does absolutely nothing? Because for some reason the first object never gets loaded. So we just save and load a completely useless object. And it doesn't get loaded, but then everything else loads fine. That was my... I don't know, I tried to fix it. And I was like, well, you know what, if the first object doesn't get loaded, let's just save a completely useless object. Okay, and this... So, at the top here, first thing is our instance array. And I guess we can put it in a temporary variable, like instance data. Save, we don't want to call it save data. Instance data? And then every reference to save data in here, no, not in the entire project, just in here, will be replaced with instance data, like that. And then I can just grab this from somewhere else, like the room tile map, yeah. And it's not supposed to be array create there. Well, it's true. Yeah, well, the arrays have already been created. That's right. And then tile array. Oh, no, I don't think tile array appeared anywhere outside of here, but I'm gonna. Okay, we're good. Replace all those. So, instance data, depending on which room we're in, but it needs to be instances, right? Temperate forest instances. So we set the array depending which room we're in. right? And then we're going to remove the persistent stuff. The controller object is persistent. The camera is not. I don't think the tracker is. Or is it? It is. Tracker, that would make sense. I was just thinking to myself, like, wouldn't it make sense if that was persistent? GUI? Probably not. No. What is this? Tile map. Lighting. I don't believe so. It is. What? Why are we save loading it? Well, we can choose to destroy it. That is true. Do we destroy it on level transition? No, we do not. However, there's something, if you remember, in the loader object, and it's like, if object lighting does not exist, create object lighting. It's one where we don't need to save and load it, so it's like we could do either, really, I think. We might as well just... Too much stuff open. We might as well not. And just let it be recreated when we enter the level. Because it's also consistent with how things normally work. And weather is... But then again... Sorry, I'm going back on myself now. This is different. This is different. Well, is it? No, it's not. The weather also... We don't want it to load how the weather was when you left. We want the weather to now sort of change based on the season and everything when you go back there, because time could have passed and it could be a totally different season. So yeah. And weather is not a persistent object. But in this case, we create it in the loader. Portal stone. Oh my god, yeah, we're gonna have to save. We're gonna have to update the save load system to save and load entrance portals. It's a new object type. I'm gonna add it to the to-do list because it's easy to forget to update your save load system whenever you add something or change something. They are pretty straightforward. It's like you don't actually save and load much. You just need to know that they were there, or they existed, and what position they were in and stuff. I'm actually going to add it here now. And you remove those two. That's it. Obelisk, campfire, drum, hut, crash store, fox den, wolf den, deer herd, rabbit warren, fox, wolf, bear, deer, rabbit, mushroom, bush, log, tree, miracle tree, tree stump, arrow. Oh. Arrow? Well, I dare say it would be impossible for an arrow to be mid-flight when you leave the level, but I guess we could do that. Oh, we might as well remove that one. Oh, Jesus Christ. I posted an ad on the GameMaker League Discord recently looking for like a graphic designer, and it was the worst decision I've ever made. People are still, like, I've closed the ad now. People are still messaging me. It's like, Jesus Christ. Waypoint, human. Humans are persistent. Waypoints also we definitely don't want. Same as the arrows. Humans can go because they stay. They persist. The dynamic human spirit that refuses to submit. That's it. That is it. Excellent. It wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. Okay, so we push when... Okay, now we need to run this godforsaken function. And that would be when we go through the exit portal to the next level. Whereabouts? When and where, you ask? I'm tempted to just do it right there. Instance... What did I call it? Instance something? What is it? Get instances. It's not even close. Not even close. Should I run this in a with? It's full of withs, so no, everything in there is run in a with anyway. So it's literally just get instances, boom, like that. Okay, so when we leave the current level, when we're about to leave the current level, we populate an array with structs that store all of the relevant information for all of the existing instances in that level that we can then use to return to repopulate that level with instances when we return to it later. We now have a tile map, grid, and all the instances, which is basically everything we need to be able to return to the level. We just don't have a means of returning to the level yet. Which is what our new entrance portals will do. Alright, okay. I'm gonna walk around for a minute. I guess we'd better get our entrance portals in. It means updating the spawn system to actually spawn them. And we do actually need to update the functionality of portals now to be able to handle the multiple portals in the same level. But previously we assumed there'd only ever be one, and it was built off of that, and I didn't think to future-proof it because I didn't foresee this eventuality. The hell is all this? Oh, portal stones. Okay. Is that really... That's a terrible way of doing that. Or is it? It feels less readable because there's just twice as much stuff for no reason. I don't do things that way anymore, okay? Oh, okay. Portal. If next level does not equal no one. That's awesome. That is awesome. So we can do the same thing. If previous level does not equal no one, then we can spawn an entrance portal, and then it will just automatically not spawn entrance portals in levels that didn't have a previous level, like Beginner Island, the first level of the game, the only level where that would be true. Unless we allow them to get out of hell. Sorry, wait a minute. No. We're not, unless we don't allow them to get out of hell, which we probably won't, because it's, you can get out, it's not really hell, is it? I know it's pretty harsh, but I think the bad ending is literally just going to be like, welcome to hell. You know, there's no way out. You're in hell now. You could maybe try and survive like as long as you want there, but it's not going to be easy. Or we could give them eternal life, and you are literally trapped in hell forever. That would be funny. We're probably gonna do that. See, I think that's the meaning of hell, actually, if we want to get philosophical for a second, is the fact that there is only one consciousness experiencing itself subjectively, right? There is, in Buddhism, it's called what is it? The supreme personality or something, the great self, like the Godhead that manifests as everything, but there is only truly one thing. Everything's actually an illusion. Separateness is an illusion, right? But so there is only you, essentially, incarnating as every possible being, like across all time and space, across all realities, right? It's all just you in your various different incarnations. So essentially you have eternal life, right? Death is an illusion. Like, it's just a transformation, a change of states for this one immortal thing that manifests as everything, right? So you do have eternal life, and so eternal damnation is essentially like just cause and effect, karma. It's just the consequences of your own actions, right? If you fuck up the earth and turn it into hell, then all future generations who are just future incarnations of you are now eternally damned to hell unless they can somehow fix it. Right, but I think that's essentially, the idea of eternal damnation. It's not something like you will live forever in this one particular form, but it's like you do live forever across all lives, and because there is karma or causality, like you inherit the consequences of all of the past actions that you made in all of your previous incarnations as well. And so, if you like fuck up really bad and like turn the earth into a fucking wasteland, then that's where you're gonna be forever until you do something about it. Previous life, but then the opposite is true. Like, if you want to create heaven on earth, then like you get to live eternally in heaven. But then again, part of that may also be that death becomes optional, but that's just, part of what makes utopia, I suppose, is that you've like cured all disease and you have abundance and you can potentially live forever and stuff. We're getting pretty close to that, it seems like. It's kind of crazy. In the grand scheme of things, we're closer to immortality than we've ever been, obviously. Probably nice to have the option still. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to imagine. It could get incredibly boring if you were just this one particular incarnation forever. That could be boring after a while. But I don't know. Because life kind of, it's like it has infinite depth to it as well. So anyway, what the hell am I talking about? Previous level is not equal. I'm still doing this, good lord. Right, I haven't optimized the spawn system yet, but it's not that bad because we just do it once at the beginning of the game, but it might increase load times a little, decrease load times a little bit. Might speed up loading if I did. So this one, now the portal is actually going to exist, but there is only one of them, so we don't need to worry about finding the nearest one. We can actually just be like, we don't want them to be close together. This is something where we actually want to kind of ensure that they are spread quite far apart, I would say. And yes, unfortunately it does mean I have to update the entire rest of the save load system to factor in the entrance portals as well. Oh, joy of joys! rest of this stuff? Where the hell's the rest of it? I forgot to... My god. Just these two? I'm just missing these two in here. Whoops. Okay, we got them now. Jesus. Man. But I don't wanna. Can't expect me to go through and add underscores to all my temporary variables now. I forget the naming convention. Underscores at the beginning of temporary variables, is that it? I forget. For the next project, if I ever get like a blank slate, I'll try and format things correctly or nicely. In this case, spawned portal. Yeah, so we can just reuse the same variable, but this would be a portal entrance. Yeah. You know, you're actually inseparable from everything. And your actions have like massive consequences that ripple out through eternity, essentially. And so, you know, like all of the decisions, all of the actions that you take in your life will affect all future generations. You know, it doesn't make sense when people are like, oh, nothing matters, you know, the nihilists or whatever, nothing matters. It's like, it matters to the fucking people who come after us, alright? They're gonna be pretty pissed if you're going around fucking shit up because you don't think anything matters. You fucking moron. Sorry. That's it. That's it. Okay, the spawn system will now spawn an entrance portal, but we also have to update everything else to factor in the fact that an entrance portal now exists. Which is, thank God there's only one of them. Because that does make it slightly easier. All I have to do is duplicate the existing portal exit code and make it say portal entrance instead. Once I've done it once, I can literally just copy paste it and then make sure the distance is actually correct. Can you imagine how shit your life would be if everybody who ever lived before us thought nothing mattered and was just like, fuck it, you know, just let the world burn. $15. This one, the rabbit warrants don't even care about portals. That's pretty crazy. I mean, because you can walk clean over them, it doesn't affect anything, and the rabbits aren't going to attack you. They're not like the rabbits from Monty Python. That's it. That's it for this one. That's it for the other one. Okay. Plants. Portal exit 10. Do I have fancy brackets on mine? Oh, I don't. Maybe I should have fancy brackets. Probably. Well, I mean, the thing is, we can always guarantee it does exist, but let me just go back and add the fancy brackets. That was constructs. Wait, did I miss one here? It looks like I missed one. Foxholes? Apparently the foxes do care about portals. They're big on portals. I've met a few foxes in my time. They love portals. That's it. Plants. Portal entrance. Copy the new one with the... Oh shit, set that to 10. Copy this one with the brackets. Oh my god, I'm doing it again. Ooh. I think that might be it. I don't think these guys care about portals or anything. These guys have a different method where it's like we scan the... Yeah, why are there two of those? Are we really using both of them? Oh yeah, I'm using it. I seem to be using it. I don't know why I'm doing that though. Okay, they scan the grid for available cells and then they only spawn on cells that are available, and that way it's like we don't need to do all of the range checks and stuff. We just know which areas are available. Plus, I mean, often they spawn within a certain range of like the wolf den. The wolves spawn close to the wolf den that they belong to and such. Don't ask me how they know which one they belong to. Oh yeah, it's like we just loop through them. We got a list of wolf dens, and we're like, oh, we're spawning the wolves that belong to this one, and then we just kind of keep going. All right, that wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. So now, I don't know if it's like going to cause the game to crash or something. I don't think so. We will have an entrance portal as well as an exit portal. They look exactly the same right now, which doesn't really help. We will differentiate them eventually. I mean, the thing about the entrance portal is that it will be open by default. There is that. So actually I should sprite swap it so it is open by default, I suppose. So entrance portal is actually going to have sprite construct sp portal open. It doesn't have all the fancy particle effects and stuff yet. That comes last, obviously. We've got to get this shit working first. But if I load into a level like that has a... No, that just crashes the game immediately. Global right. That's not been defined. Where do I define... level transition what is it? Level transition? Where do I define that to begin with? Menu create by the looks of it. So I'm gonna add level previous there as well. We just hadn't defined that variable. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can still just like start a new game and everything will be fine, I hope, and we'll have an entrance portal in there as well as an exit portal now. On construct incorrect type object expecting a sprite. I fucked up. I fucked something up. Oh boy. Seems like I made a simple mistake, which is probably a sign that it's about time to call it a day. Let's see what I did. What did I do? Huh? What line is it? Line 302. Wait, 302? Oh, I see. Hopefully it's just this one. I want the portal, there it is. SP portal hitbox. Boom, like that. Okay. we're in. Let's see if we can find our... There's the exit portal. There's the entrance portal. Look at that. Okay, we got it in the level now. That is good. Not quite sure how I'm going to color code them or differentiate them yet, but just the fact that this one's already open helps a bit, I guess. Okay, so it's in there. I don't think we'd want to try going through it at this stage. Let's not risk it. Whoa. MP grid destroy. Oh. Right, we don't do that anymore. Those don't exist. Sorry, it's just freaking out because I'm trying to destroy a bunch of grids that don't exist. 1 second. Game. End game. There we go. Alright. Cool. Yeah, we're in a very good spot. I definitely feel like it's probably time to call it a night, but we've got a fair ways through the implementation of these entrance portals, which will allow you to return to the previous levels. We've still got to update the save load system to save and load the previous levels as they were, so that even if you return to the game after, like, you know, well, even if you load a save, it still works, but... And there's probably some more details to iron out, but I think I'm just about done for today. Appreciate you joining me. I think I might upload that earlier playtest to YouTube because it was a pretty good little sort of showcase, demonstration, whatever. I haven't uploaded anything like that in a while. People are always like, have you got any screenshots? Have you got a Steam page? Have you got a video, a GIF? I've got nothing, alright? I just stand here and I code my ass off, okay? But if I do this, then I'll have like a video I could show people, I guess. That'd be pretty sweet. It doesn't look like we have enough viewers to really raid anybody, so I'm gonna call it a night and head out. Thank you for joining me. I look forward to continuing working on this tomorrow. Tomorrow is a rest day, so I can literally just code all day, basically. I believe the weather is supposed to start improving over the next few days, though. You know, I definitely would want to kind of, if it turns out nice again, I would want to. No, it's fucked. It's completely fucked. Apparently, it's going to be hot on Wednesday. Wednesday's apparently going to be good, and then it's like going to be raining again for all eternity. Yeah, as it tends to do in this country. I'm telling you, I'm in the wrong goddamn country. Alright, that's it from me, though. What have I even done today? I have no idea. I did some stuff, right? I did something. Surely I've been here for like 9 hours. What did I do? It's me, man. What was I doing? I know I was doing the portal stuff. What was I doing before? I was like fixing the carpenters weren't working again or something. Wait, did I already? Fixed build tracker, enable nearest... I just kind of basically just like did a play test pretty much, right? I'm sure there was a little bit of stuff that I did, but I can't remember. Yeah, I can't remember what I did before. So I'm just gonna say like began implementing entrance portals. Beautiful. Really like, I mean, this is my jam, dude. I'm really excited about this stuff. I'm just having a blast with it. I just think it's going to be really cool when it's done. Sure beats the hell out of drawing sprites, I can tell you that. Okay. Well, I'm just pushing this to the repository. I can't release this build because it's like fucked. It's like right in between. It was playable. It will soon be playable again, but right now it's not really playable. It is, but it is and it isn't. It depends. If you try and use one of those entrance portals, it's not going to work very well. And it'll probably crash your game. But I did release the build earlier today, which is actually a solid build. So if you're not already, please become a Ko-fi member and support the development of the game, and also get early access to development builds. But yeah, that is it from me for today. So until next time, take it easy, dude. But